Welcome to the Scalable Real Estate Investing Podcast, where we discuss the most scalable strategies, tools, and approaches to successfully invest in real estate. Learn how to make the most impact of your time, automate your real estate investing business, find off-market deals with minimum time invested, and leverage your capital to create as many income streams as possible so that you can achieve true financial independence. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Mason Clement. Hi everyone, Mason Clement here. Before we get into today's episode, I wanted to ask you one question. Are you sick of the wild swings in the stock market and ready to try something different? Did you know that investing in stocks actually put you at the very bottom of a company's capital structure, meaning that there's practically 0% chance that you're going to get any of your money back in the event that the company files bankruptcy? So basically, you're putting yourself in the riskiest position for a questionable return. Personally, I hate the unpredictability and just waking up and having half of my investment gone when I didn't do anything wrong. So what a lot of people don't know is that you can actually make higher returns on a consistent basis by investing in the opposite end of the capital structure, which is actually the safest place to be, which is on the debt side in a first lien position. And you can do that by investing in real estate, and specifically investing with my company in notes that are backed by the land that we purchase. So if you're ready to diversify your income stream, go ahead and go over to scalablerei.com and click on invest in the top right corner. There you're going to find a form that you can fill out to determine if you're eligible to invest with my company, Celion Capital, and we'll be reaching out to you to schedule an introductory call and speak more from there. So thanks a lot, and let's jump into the episode. Hi everyone, I'm Mason Clement. I'm host of Scalable REI podcast here, and Alicia Jarrett is on for the second time. We had her on for episode 30 about 2 years ago, so a lot has changed since then. We thought we'd do a refresh. If you're not familiar though with that episode, she is a co-owner of Supercharged Offers and also Landscouts, so we're going to be jumping into some land investing topics today. Thought she could add a lot of value, so let's jump into it. Alicia, what's going on?
Mason, I can't believe it's 2 years. Where has it gone?
I know, it feels like yesterday. Just
it does feel like yesterday. And if we can share with everyone watching, like you and I have been in the same groups for a while. I was on your podcast 2 years ago. We're in the same circles. And we finally got to meet in person, like, what was it, 6 or 7 weeks ago now? And we met for like 5 minutes at the bottom of the lift. And that was it. But instantly we recognized one another. And we were like, Mason, AJ? Yeah. So good to be back. Thanks for having me on, my friend.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was in Houston for that capital raising conference, and I was trying to like hold a water cup and get my hotel keys for the elevator, and I dropped it, and and then I think I dropped my credit card or something, and so that's what you were trying to help me with that. So it was good that I was clumsy.
Fun times.
Yeah, I don't think we would have bumped into each other otherwise. Yeah, but yeah, it was a good conference.
Might not have. Yeah.
I know for that trip you were there for a while. Like how long? A few months in the States?
Yeah. So for those listening who don't know who I am an Aussie, as you can tell by my accent. So I'm not English, I'm not New Zealand, I'm an Aussie. But we do all of our business in the US. So when I saw you, Mason, we were there for 7 weeks on that trip. Earlier in the year, we were there for 8 weeks, and I'm about to jump on a plane today for another 6 weeks. So essentially, by the time I combine that all, I've been in the US more than half this year. So it's pretty exciting. But we go over to attend conferences, to meet with our customers, to collaborate, to be in the same time zone as our customers as well. And we're actually in the process, Mason, of moving to the States. So if anyone's got their top suggestions on the best cities to live in, hit me up.
All right. Well, I'm biased. Dallas, Texas, one of the best.
I did get to Dallas last time. Loved it, but I've grown up around water and I love being near the ocean. So at this stage, it's a toss up between San Diego or St. Petersburg, Florida. There's something about being near the ocean that just speaks to my soul. So yeah, either of those I think is the top runners at the moment, Mason.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, if you're looking for land investors, there's a lot of us here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but obviously there's a lot of Florida markets that are just completely saturated with land investors. So that could also be beneficial to be there.
Everywhere. I mean, one of our really successful customers at the moment, guess where she's doing land, Mason?
Alaska.
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
You got it. You're right. And I guess we all look at the space of vacant land and think, there wouldn't be deals there, or there wouldn't be deals there. There are deals everywhere, because I always say we are not our end buyer. Our end buyer is our end buyer. So we just need to let the market tell us what it wants to do, right? If there's buyers and sellers, we can make stuff happen. So it's really exciting. Yeah.
Very cool. How many deals has she done over there approximately?
Oh, so she's now into her third campaign with us. Off the top of my head, she's probably sitting somewhere between 10 to 15 deals. And a lot of people are wanting to buy land there for off-grid to, have the off-grid lifestyle and stuff like that. So she's tapped into a really interesting market, which is kind of exciting. Got another customer that wants to specialize in things like selling vacant land to renewable energy sources. So partnering with solar companies and wind turbine companies, which again, really exciting, right? So a lot of people drive past vacant land and don't even give it a second thought because it's just a blank canvas. But there's actually a lot of things you can do with vacant land. It's really exciting.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, I want to actually grow my note portfolio. So I want to do what a lot of people do and just start flipping some more desert squares on terms. And your off-grid type of kind of avatar reminded me of that because I know a lot of folks are also trying to do off-grid living over there. And I think what people don't realize is that it depends on each local jurisdiction too. It's not just super easy just to buy an RV and just buy a piece of land and there you go. There's, as you already know, there's tons of different considerations here. Like, oh, there are deed restrictions. Is there an HOA? Is it even allowed to do stuff like that?
All of that stuff, right? And a lot of people sitting on vacant land that have owned it for years, they don't even know half the time what those qualifications or restrictions or designations. There's lots of words we can use for that stuff. They don't even often know what that is. So it's really interesting. And just a side note, you just mentioned that you buy notes. I did not know that about you, Mason. And I actually have a customer that wants to sell some notes at the moment. So let's chat after the call.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, well, I'm also going to originate the notes, but I would also consider buying them just depending on what the numbers look like.
Yeah,
Um,
if they're seasoned
yeah.
notes and the numbers look good, then note buying and land has some great stuff around notes, because let's just think about the market at the moment, right? So, as everybody knows listening to this, because this is a real estate podcast, markets go in cycles. The typical real estate cycle is about 7 years. So we see this slow upturn and then this slow downturn and then slow again. Not a fast moving market, it's slow. But it does tend to follow what the economy is doing. We all know that. If you look back in time in history, we all know that. Interestingly enough, at the moment, what a lot of my customers are finding is that, and when I say my customers, I'm talking supercharged offers customers here, right? Because we help a lot of people with their deals when it comes to all types of asset classes, but especially vacant land. What they're finding is that at the moment, Mason, buyers, they're not wanting to lock up all of their cash at once. So they're looking to do seller financing or lease purchasing to lock in the property, but then really not start to build on that property for maybe 2 or 3 years. So they're hedging their bets on a few things, which is a great way for cash flowing properties, great way to lock in things. Because guess what? If it gets to 2 or 3 years' time and they back out of the deal, you've had all of these payments and then you can put the property back on the market. So land is awesome when it comes to notes. It really is.
Okay, perfect. And also, like for me, it's been a matter of just the cash flow because I've been really highly preferred cash deals for a while, but now it's just like after leaving the day job in April of last year, I realized that man, I really need some consistent monthly income so that I can start planning and budgeting and know just give
Yeah.
myself at least that sense of security that I can pay the bills and pay my team members and stuff like that.
I
So
love it. Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's where having some really good seasoned notes works really well. We've got a
Mm.
bunch that we got years ago. Some land deals that we've got some sellers that are some buyers that are paying us off over many, many, many years. It's set and forget. We don't even think about them. We've got a company that manages all the payments for us. It's just every month, money just comes in. So it's pretty exciting. I do love that.
Awesome. Well, what have y'all been able to grow it to in a ballpark for like, revenue numbers?
Oh, it's oh goodness, it's probably about 6 or 7 thousand a month. But that's not a massive amount for people doing notes. But you got to realize as well, when we were doing a lot of the seller financing, because since then we've changed our strategy and now we're going after bigger properties that aren't really right for seller financing. But that couple of $1,000s a month, that keeps the lights on, Mason. It's that little security blanket of making sure you just got a few things in place. However, we've got customers that are getting $40,000, $50,000, $70,000 a month in notes. It's pretty amazing when they've built up a really good portfolio. It's a great strategy, but it's not the only strategy. It's one of many. So we can kind of delve into that if you like and talk a bit more about land.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I know that we fast forward and kind of jump the gun. We could talk a little bit more about supercharged offers for those that aren't familiar or haven't listened to that
Yeah,
prior episode. I have a general idea, but I don't know if it's changed over the past couple years as well. Why don't we just talk about that and
sure.
then
Thanks,
get into the
Mason.
strategies?
Yeah, great. So supercharged offers have stayed pretty consistent. Let's just give people the background as to how supercharged offers came about for those that haven't listened to that episode. So as they probably heard by listening so far, I'm a real estate investor, as is my business partner, Matt. We've done many deals in the US over the last 8 years, but about 4 years ago now, we just started to look at how our business was being run. And quite frankly, we needed to go to one place for our data, one place for our direct mail, another place that was managing our website, and we ended up building one ourselves because it wasn't great. Then we had another place doing cold calling for us, and it was just really disjointed. It just wasn't really synergizing or syncing up. And so we just started to look out there for, is there a company that can help us out with all of this and just focus on acquisitions and pipeline management? And the answer was no, we couldn't find one. So we thought, done it, we'll create one ourselves. So Supercharged Offers, folks, it literally was born out of a need for us getting our own business more efficient in our acquisitions pipeline and more consistent in that pipeline too. We didn't think it would become the business it is today, Mason, but here we are just over 4 years on, or we're heading up to 4.5 years now. And we've got hundreds of customers in 9 countries, all doing deals in the US. And what we do for them is a done-for-you real estate acquisition system. So they just simply tell us what's their strategy and where do they want to go and do deals. Now, we've got people doing vacant land, single family, retail strips, self-storage, small multifamily, you name it, we can do it because the same principles apply no matter where you go. And what those principles are based upon what we call our 5Ds. So we do business design, which is helping them to really implement a solid strategy. We do all their data, pulling, scrubbing, cleansing, parsing it, getting it ready to go. We do all their direct mail, so a very targeted, strategized direct mail campaign out to their prospects. We do all their digital marketing, which is building out a 6-page sales funnel website, all things like content on there, like ebooks, videos, all these things that your prospects can interact with, all their social media as well. So even up to 4 channels. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever you want to build out, we'll build it out. And we run ads behind both of those as well. So we do targeted ads on Google and Facebook. And we do cold calling. So all of that engine is all working together, Mason, to get leads to come into their business. And their job as a real estate investor then becomes spending their time on nurturing that lead, closing that lead, and securing the deal. Everything up to there, they pretty much are outsourcing all of their marketing to us, which is excellent. We save them time, we get them more efficient, we love it.
Okay. Is it common for, maybe I already know the answer, but do people ever use you and your team, but then also kind of continue doing some of their own marketing, like sending out some
Sometimes,
SMS
yeah.
marketing or something?
Yeah, really good question, because the only thing that we get, excuse me, the only thing that we don't do is SMS. And the reason why we don't do it is kind of 2 reasons. Number one, it's still pretty unregulated. So if you really delve deep into the legislation around SMSing and reaching out to people, they really should be opting in before you're contacting them. So it's still a real gray space. And I know lots of people over the last few months that have had their SMS systems literally shut down overnight because someone's reported them or someone's called their SMS a spam. So SMS is still really unregulated. However, if you are still using SMS, it's also really time consuming. You need a full-time VA to be responding back and forth and nurturing your leads before that lead gets into your pipeline. So yes, I believe that SMS has a space, but it's not one that we really want to get into because it's just it's fraught with lots of complexities at the moment, and lots of companies out there doing it really well. So launch control, great service. Lots of our customers use it. So we do integrate with that really well. So to give you an example, Mason, of that, we've got customers that do the full suite of everything that we offer. We'll pull their data, we'll get it skip traced. They will push it through launch control as one system, run their SMSs, and then anybody that doesn't respond, that's the data that we use to push out the direct mail and the ads. So we can do that true omni-channel presence for them. We've also got customers that do it the other way. So we get their data, we send out their direct mail, we're running ads. Once the direct mail has been delivered, because we track that on a dashboard, they're using the SMS to do a follow-up. Hey, Mason, we sent you a letter about your property. We'd love to know if you've got questions. So there's different ways that you can integrate this stuff. At the end of the day, Mason, the one thing I'll say is when it comes to real estate marketing, you just need to be omnipresent. You need to, these days, be anywhere and everywhere that your prospects roam and be in front of them. And that's what we're doing.
Okay, awesome. Do y'all ever use a software called REI Sift?
I do not.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, it's one that I was working with some full-time cold calling team that was using a dialer and stuff like this, and they said that's what they use to kind of cross-check lists, make sure you're not contacting people that were already like on a prior list that said never contact me again, stuff like that. But I don't know. I paid for it. We were using it, and then I stopped using that team, and so I stopped using REI Sift. I never really learned how to use it. I was just curious how many people use it.
Yeah. We outsourced our cold calling to a partner that we've worked with for years. They only do real estate and they do cold calling all day long. So they've got a number of different systems and processes they use to keep everybody safe and keep it above board.
Okay, very cool. So, when y'all are implementing this, I liked how you mentioned that you might mail afterward after people don't respond, because I found my mailers don't really convert that much, and so I haven't sent out any recently,
Yeah.
and just really focused on SMS. But I do agree that you really kind of need to have a multi-pronged approach and hit it from different angles. So, are y'all constantly monitoring the different ad spend across all these different channels, and then the ones that have the highest conversion, like allocate more money to those, or how's that work?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could do that. At the end of the day, as you know, with real estate, it's all about timing, because you might send the right letter to the right person for the right property, but it's just not the right time. So therefore, if the ads keep running, because we retarget all of our ads, maybe in 4 or 5 months' time, life has happened. They now need to liquidate their property and you've been in front of them and they remember that letter and now they're going to act on it. So the whole thing about omni-channel is you really don't want to mess with it too much. You want to keep everything running so that you're in front of your prospects in whatever they choose to do. So we tend to not turn stuff off, but what we are doing is making sure that we've got adequate budget for each of them, and that they're all performing together. So let me give you an example. We send out direct mail, our direct mail now, and we want to really, again, if direct mail is not working for you, for anyone listening to here, I would suggest that you book a call with me and I review the direct mail piece with you, because there's a lot of stuff out there that's not working, but there's equally a lot of things that do work. And so sometimes it's about asking, well, what can I do to differentiate that direct mail? You know, what's going to get me the highest open rate or the highest view rate? Now, all of the mail that we send out, Mason, if you can see that QR code here on my screen at the moment, we've got one on the letter about that size. It is big. It is right there down the bottom, and underneath it's like, click to check us out, click to ask for an offer, strong call to action. As soon as they click, guess what happens? Cookie gets attached. We're now pushing ads out to them because they've gone to the website. So here's the thing. You might send them the right letter and they go, that's interesting. I'm going to check that person out, even if they're not ready to sell. But now we're pushing ads out. So what we really want is to make sure that we've got this system that works together, that nurtures your leads for you, even things like email automation. So if they go to your website and maybe they've just put their email in to find out a bit more, now they're going to get automatically nurtured. Whole bunch of information about you, your business, your success stories, all those things that are going to build that trust and that credibility. I think the thing I want to say about marketing as well, and marketing channels, real estate, if I can put this really plainly and really bluntly, more than anything, it's people before properties. Or the other way to think about it is it's relationship before real estate. people want to do business with people, especially people that they trust and people that they see as credible. Especially now, Mason, like, have you had some stuff lately about the different scams about real estate fraud out there?
Oh yeah, definitely in Florida specifically, but all over
Yeah,
the country too.
all over, right? So people want to work with people that they can trust, especially when it's an off-market deal. When you've got a realtor involved and all of that, it's obviously it feels a lot safer for people because that's what they're used to. But when it's an off-market deal, they're going to be doing due diligence now on who they're selling to. And they're going to be checking, do you use a title company? Is my transaction going to be safe? Are you a real human? So can I pick up the phone and talk to you? Can I watch a video on your website about you to know the what you do and how you operate? So what we want to do from a marketing perspective is start from the place of people and relationships, then get into real estate. And that's really an important distinction. And that should also be a distinction in your direct mail as well.
Okay. Yeah, I've been doing it all wrong, I'm sure. I need, need to
Oh,
sit down with
Mason,
you.
I don't think you've been doing it all wrong, my friend, because look, you left your job last year, you're doing real estate full time, you're doing something right. I guess the thing out there is for people to always, every quarter, I really encourage people to just pause, check your numbers. What's your strategy? Do you need to shift anything in that strategy? Is there anything you can tweak a little bit over here or adjust a little bit over there? And by doing that, is that going to start to just, make that little bit of difference? And that little bit of difference, all it needs to be, Mason, this is my mindset around it. Those little differences, if that just got you one more deal next month, but that deal was a $50,000 deal, then that's a good tweak to make, right? So, always be improving.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's really the difference between just surviving and thriving. And
Correct.
recently, I feel like I've been surviving, but a little frustrated because I'm not thriving, and that's the whole reason I left the job, the day job. It's like now looking back, would I have been better if I just stayed at that job? Am I just an idiot with a big ego? So anyway, not to have a pity
We can't
party,
look
but
back, we've always got to look forward.
yeah, exactly. I mean, this is just the struggles of any entrepreneur, I think, of questioning
Correct.
things and all that. So if I want to work with your company, I know that there's got to be sufficient budget, like you mentioned, for all the channels to be omnipresent. So like, what should I expect to really need to bring to the table and
Budget
constantly
wise?
consistently have? Yeah, budget wise. So.
Yeah, look, that really just depends on strategy. So one of the first things that we will do with people is sit down and work through their strategy. We get them to fill in what's called a business growth plan, which is get all the ideas out of your head about what you want your business to look like for your asset class. Because if you're doing small multifamily and maybe you're doing some buy and holds and some fix and flips, that's going to be a very different strategy to someone wholesaling vacant land. So number one, get the strategy. Number two, it's then about reverse engineering those numbers to have the right strategy that suits you. Now, we've got monthly packages from $1,900 a month all the way up to $50,000 a month, depending upon what you're doing. And we have customers through that whole spectrum, right? Average customer, though, so let me take our vacant land customer. Our average customer probably spends somewhere between $5,000 to $6,000 a month with us. But then once they get really good lead flow and deal flow, they should be making somewhere between 30 to 50,000 a month on that. And most of them are.
Okay, yeah, it's all relative. It's like, oh my God, that's a shocking
All
number.
relative.
But yeah, it's just
And
didn't really
I know
me.
people in the single family home space, Mason. I was at another conference recently, the family mastermind with Matt Andrews. Shout out to Matt Andrews, what an incredible group he has put together. But I know people that have single family home coaching businesses there, and their students are spending like $15,000 to $20,000 a month. It's huge. But again, when they get some good deals, they're awesome deals. So it's all relative. And I want people to think about marketing like this. Marketing should not be considered a cost. Marketing should be considered an investment because, like anything, right? You're putting $1 into the machine. That machine should spit back out a certain number of dollars as a return on investment. So you got to spend money to make money. And it's still Mason, can I have a little grumble for a second?
Go ahead.
I still see a lot of real estate educators out there that talk about their coaching programs and their education, like do deals with no money down. And it just gets me. Because yes, you can do a deal with no money down. You can get a property under contract. You can then assign that contract, or you can sell the property itself and double close. So yes, you can do deals with no money down, but you cannot start a business with no money down, and you can't find that deal with no money down. You still need money for marketing and business and VAs, whatever it is that you need. So I really encourage anyone, if you are going to do education, make sure you've got a budget for your education and your coaching, but make sure you've got an equivalent budget to do your marketing, because otherwise you're going to get all these great ideas and this great education, but you need money to start. Okay,
Yeah, definitely.
that's my rant and my grunt over. I'll do a mic drop.
All right. Definitely. Yeah, that's really true. I think people don't really understand, or maybe you're not even aware of that, especially when starting out. So I think it's
Yeah,
just one of
and
many tools.
it is, and it really disheartens me. I had a call with someone the other day, and they paid like $30,000 for a coaching program. They got no support. They got all this information, but no support on how to implement. And when I said, they want to end up being about $15,000 to $20,000 a month in single family. They want to do some buy and holds and get to that stage. And I said, well, what have you got for marketing? And he said, I've got $1,000. And I was like, not going to work, my friend. And I really felt for him, because it's like he spent all this money and there was no support for him to implement. And I just think, oh, that just breaks my heart. So I say we are not an educator. We don't have students. We have customers, and we are an implementer. You go get your education. We will implement your strategy, and we'll hold that strategy dear, and we'll keep pushing it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, yeah, I've definitely heard of that scenario before too, and I definitely try to monitor how much I'm spending on training and education, especially like after several years. It's like, all right, I got this. I've heard this. Why did I pay for this? And not to look down on those programs, you definitely need something to get started and springboard your career in that
Yeah.
direction. But at the same time, it's like, all right, I should stop spending money on this. I just got to implement, like you said. I got to hire
Correct.
supercharged offers and just get more leads.
Shameless plug there, Nathan. Yeah, you're right. And I think that's the same as any of us. Like, no matter what we're doing in life, if we decide to go and learn another language, we can go and do a course, but unless we keep practicing the conversations in the language, we're never going to pick it up. So for me, it's the same with anything. Go and learn, but then do. Go and implement. Go and have that conversation. Go and put that into action, even if it feels scary. And then once you've mastered that, sure, go back and do another course and level up, or be part of a master grind and level up. But just spending money on courses and coaching without implementing is just a waste.
It's funny you mentioned the language learning. So because actually in all of January this year, I was in Hong Kong with my wife visiting her family because they're all there. And I speak Mandarin, but they speak Cantonese there, and I have like a few words, but I'm not gonna like brag about my Cantonese skills. So when we got back, I bought a textbook that has some like audio lessons and stuff in for
Awesome.
Cantonese, so that way next time I can improve and be better. But I still haven't even opened that book after I got it from Amazon. So, so that's the whole thing. It's like it's almost very similar to like buying a course. It's like, yeah, what happened with that? And it's like, oh well, I didn't go through it and implement what I learned. For me, I haven't even learned
Yeah. And
new stuff.
I'd even challenge people. This is really funny. You made me laugh when you say that, because I often say to people, go and look at your bookshelf. See what business books and stuff you've bought but you've never opened. And every single person I know has always got one or two on there that they have. And at the time, isn't it funny at the time, Mason, when you bought the book, you were probably like, yes, this feels great. I'm buying the book. But without opening it and doing anything, it's just a book.
Yes, exactly. And then you just kind of look at those books I spent money on. Like, where'd all my money go? Oh, it's to that book gathering
Yeah.
dust over there.
It's
Yeah.
it's it's the one that's on the coffee table that you're using as a coaster. That's where it becomes.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Okay. One thing I actually want to ask is I know that you help a lot on the acquisition side, which is really
Yep.
like where most of the heavy lifting is. And if you don't have properties to sell, then you don't really have a business. Um, but what about the dispose side when you're selling properties? Could you
Yep.
get into that a little bit? Do y'all help with that, or
Yeah.
what's it look like for your
Great
business?
question. So personally, we are not doing any disposition websites or marketing for people, and here's why: because there's some great providers out there. So what we've done instead is we've partnered with a few of them. So once our customers get deals, we've got some really great partnerships in place where we're like, right, obviously with vacant land, for example, you can go and put it on Facebook Marketplace, land.com, which then syndicates it out to Land and Farm and Lands of America. You can get it on the MLS. There's a whole range of places that you can get your vacant land. But in the off-market deals, there's not, apart from land.com, there's actually not a massive amount. But there's two new players in the market. One of them is Property Source. I actually ran a webinar 2 days ago. I had like 96 people sign up and attend this webinar, which was excellent. And so Property Source is a great platform. It is free for people to sign up. What I might do, Mason, I'm going to give you my link to Property Source, because you can put vacant land, single family, multifamily. You can put anything on there, and it's a global marketplace. So it allows people all around the world to buy properties in the US as well. And it's a transactional and funding marketplace too. So you can do everything from advertise your property, get it under contract, put it into closing, manage escrow, close it, give title to the new buyer, end to end, all done. So remind me at the end of the call, I'll give you my link to send out to people for that. Second is Investor Lift. So Investor Lift is currently a place where you can advertise your deals to sell for houses. We're also in some beta testing with them to do vacant land, which is really cool. So again, we're always looking for ways that we can help our customers get that velocity of money. Because the thing is, being a real estate investor, you need to have your money always working for you, recycling it into bigger deals, doing better things. So we've got some great partners that we're working with on that too, which is excellent. Super excited.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Investor Lift, because I, at the end of like 2021, I was wanting to add houses onto my land business, and I ultimately abandoned it because it was causing me to stray too far away from land, which was what was my core, business was. But I actually bought a 1 year subscription to Investor Lift, and I did sell a piece of land through that, like unknowingly. So I was able to like kind of break even on the $5,000 I spent on that 1 year. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm familiar with the platform. Yeah.
Yep. Excellent. Excellent. So what we need to do is educate our customers and our networks on these platforms too. Because a lot of people are just doing what they know. And here's the thing: as people, we only know what we know. So part of what I think my role is as a not only a service provider, but as a member of the real estate investing community, one of my superpowers, if I can call it that, is I'm a connector. Like our customers will come to me, and I'll have a call with a customer. Just had one yesterday. And he's like, I've got a problem with X. And I was like, great, I've got a solution. I'll introduce you to this person. Or someone's like, I need a comps person. I literally put out a post on Facebook, and I was like, guys, does anyone in my network know someone that's willing to do comps? I got like 10 people that are like, yep, I'll help. And so I think it's about being part of a community and connecting people in that community as well.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. And yeah, also the reason I asked about the disposition side is because I, for my own business, plan on getting that machine going more. And I think it's really related to the acquisition side, like kind of what you mentioned, like just being omnipresent, and not only being on Facebook Marketplace, land.com, and all those other ones you mentioned, but also kind of the social media part of it. Because I have a lot of other land investor friends that have had success growing a following and driving traffic to the website and selling properties that way too.
Yeah. We're also about to launch a new platform as part of Supercharged Offers called Buy Finder. That should be launched in like the next week or so. We're hoping. It's been a labor of love for about 2 years, Mason. And what this will help our customers to do is, when they've got a property under contract, they can go onto the platform, look up their property. It's going to find all the neighbors around the property in a radius that you can choose, and it's going to find all the recent cash buyers in the area. So people that have bought more than 2 properties similar to yours in the last year. At the click of a button, you'll be able to market your property out to them and send them a letter and a flyer and look for people to buy local. Most of goodness, a lot of our deals that we've done over the years, we've sold to neighbors.
Yeah, it's actually a really good idea. And it's something I really neglect to do. I just kind of forget about it. But I actually have a double closing deal I'm doing right now that's a neighbor. And actually, I found him through Facebook Marketplace. He stumbled across my posting, and then
There you
we
go.
got it. Yeah, got under contract. Yeah,
There you go.
but I should have reached out to him first, not just going through
Exactly.
Marketplace. Okay.
And the funny thing, when you reach out to the neighbors, often the neighbors have got properties they want to sell. So we've actually even got deals from doing neighbor letters, where people are like, look, I don't want to buy next door, but I do actually have some land, in another county. You want to have a look at that? Sure.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but that could make a lot of sense.
Yep. Yep. So I'll
Okay.
send that to you when we launch, and you can get that out to your network as well. Really handy tool.
Yeah. Is that going to be like an add-on feature? You pay extra amount of money per
So
month or
there's no subscription, there's no monthly amount. You just literally pay for the job. So it's going to calculate how much data you're using and how much mail you're sending, and it's just going to charge you for that.
something? Okay. Cool. Kind of just the ad spend, if you call it that.
Correct. So you might even spend $5 sending out a couple of letters. You might spend $500 because you got a whole neighborhood you want to get across. Totally flexible depending upon what you want to send.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I think that the one of the biggest things that sticks out in my mind about working with your company is just the consistency, because that's something that I've had a lot of trouble with over the past like 3 years of done land investing. It's like it's me and like also other kind of one or two person show type of businesses where it's like you
Yeah.
send out a mailer, you get busy, and then you're busy with finding a buyer for it and for the ones you get under contract. And then so just a
Oh,
pendulum that goes back
Nathan.
and forth, and like you always have a pipeline that dries up. It's just not really a good way to run a
You
business.
are speaking to my heart. I call it the roller coaster.
Hmm.
Because it's like, oh, we got deals coming in, and then we're, oh no, no, we're slowing. Oh, we got deals coming in. It just feels like this roller coaster that we're on, right? And you're 100% right. One of our biggest missions that we have in Supercharged Offers, we've got a few of them. The first one is to change the amount of successful people in the real estate space. It's way too low. Everyone does all this education and marketing, and only about 3% ever make it. We want to change that big time. Our second mission is to keep people consistent. So consistency means when you outsource to us, my team is literally lining up 6 months of your campaign at a time. We know every week what's going out, when it's lined up. We're managing that whole process for you. We're even uploading it into your CRM. All that you need to do is keep your lead pipeline happy. Call the leads, nurture the leads, get properties. So whilst you've got some properties under contract and you're selling them, guess what? Leads are still slowly coming in for new deals. So you can do both.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Um, and actually, I think you kind of hit on my next question. It's like a tangential point. Like as you grow this volume of deals, and you really need to kind of get out of your own way, take yourself out of the business, you need to start growing a team. So could you talk a little bit about that? Like what your experience has been, also like your customers, in terms of the best ways
Yep.
to find talent, cultivate them, retain them, and really motivate them.
Yeah, I can definitely talk to that. What I'll say first of all is I feel like I'm selling supercharged offers on this call, and it's not the intention, but let me just start with one more thing around that, Mason.
No worries.
So
Yeah.
we have customers that come to us and they've got a VA scrubbing their data. They've got another VA that's managing their like their social media and their website and leads that come in from there, kind of like a part-time acquisitions manager. And then they've really got a whole bunch of work to do with managing their business as well as managing two people. We've had customers come to us that have either gotten rid of those resources or changed those resources into more functional things. Because when you work with us, we've got a data team, content team, design team, development team, project manager, data scientist. We've literally got a cold calling team. We've got all that. So you don't need to go and find all those people. We have them, we manage them, we implement for you. So there's number one. And the reason I say that is when people are growing and scaling their businesses, when you're in a stage of growth, especially if you're busy, what I see a lot of people doing is they have a propensity to just go and find a VA and plug a hole. We're busy, so let's just find a person and put them over here to do this. But then what they end up with, Mason, is a people problem, because now they've got to manage a resource. And if that resource is not fully trained up and supported and knows what they're doing really, really well, guess what? Now you got a performance problem. So when you're hiring resources, what I'd really encourage people to think about is process first, people second. So process first. If you partner with Supercharged Offers, we've got all the processes already lined up and we've got the people running them. If you don't hire us, that's cool too. But then for your own business, think about your processes first. What are your SOPs? How do you want data to be done? What is it that if someone's an intake manager, that on a day-to-day basis, their day should look like from the minute they start to the minute they end, chunk down like a typical day. And then in each of those chunks, so maybe it's responding to leads coming in, maybe it's running comps and doing analysis, maybe it's doing second offers out to customers. For each of those, have a really, really dedicated process mapped out. Because then if you find the right person, you're plugging them into your process, and that becomes a lot easier to manage. What I see people doing is hiring resources, giving them a little bit of training and expecting miracles to happen. And that's not how humans work. You know, especially if you're hiring a resource that's offshore, they're not experienced in real estate. Maybe they've got some excellent skills, but the way that you run your business is different to the skills that they have. So really making sure you're setting the person up for success. The third element I'm going to talk about here, Mason, is feedback. Again, I just see way too many people that hire a VA and then I hate to say it, but they complain that the VA is not performing or that they're not doing things right. And my question to them is, well, when did you give them feedback on this? When did you help them with more training? When did you stop and adjust your SOP so that it really suits the way that this person works? When did you start complaining about them but not do anything about it? So often we end up with that people problem, but then we got to be willing enough as leaders to go and have the tough conversation and give feedback. Hey, Mason, I saw that you did these calls the other day. You know, this one was really great, but these two, I just listened to the recordings. You didn't follow the script and we lost the lead. So let's have a chat about that. Or, hey, Mason, you ran that data for me and you did the scrubbing and cleansing. I can see that there's a whole bunch of data missing now that should be in there. So let's go back and review the process together and take me through it step by step because something's not right. You know, so many people complain about people not performing, but then I always say, put up the mirror as a leader and say, what am I doing or not doing that's either making that person successful and performing well or isn't?
Yeah, I've actually all of those things being true because I've fallen victim to all of those, just kind of unknowingly, like hiring people and then, oh yeah, they got experience, that's fine. I'll just let them attack the task and I get busy with my own stuff, and I forgot to train them and provide that feedback and everything you said there. So totally can relate, and
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
You're wasting time and wasting money, and you're causing more stress for yourself, right?
Yeah, which is really ironic because the reason you hire
It
someone is
is,
so that you can take a load off of yourself. You're actually
right?
creating a lot of other different problems.
The irony for me never ceases to amaze me. I'm just like, really, people? Come on. And I guess I'm saying all this stuff, Mason, because I'm not sure if you're aware, but my background before getting into, real estate in the US and stuff, I've got like 20 years experience as a leadership expert. I worked in human resources and organizational development. So my background is working with people, really understanding how people work and organizations work and hiring people for the right things, training, all of that. Working with leaders on how to implement stuff in their businesses and how to be a better leader, especially if they're a technical expert and they're trying to be a leader. That's my jam. So prior to building out the stuff that we're doing now, I'm super passionate about seeing people succeed in business. Because the one thing that we need to also realize now, it's not so common when you're working with virtual assistants, because the virtual assistant will often not leave you if you're paying them well. You've got to make them leave. But in the employment space, it comes back to this principle: is people don't leave jobs, people leave people. So if I'm not being supported by my leader, if I'm not feeling like I'm being managed to be successful, if I'm feeling like I'm never getting feedback, so I don't know if I'm doing a good job or a bad job, I'm out of here, especially if there's a better offer over there. So, we've got to be careful when we're hiring people, right? Because we're dealing with a human, not a robot.
Yeah, I think we're still a pretty good ways away from AI
automating everything and outsourcing
We
all of
are.
it, right?
We definitely are. There's some exciting stuff happening in the AI space. Don't get me wrong. It's really, really cool. But at the end of the day, people still want to do business with people.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, we're still all here, living, breathing human beings.
Correct. Correct. Now, I know we're almost at time, Mason. So, any final topics we want to cover and solve the problems of the world today?
Well, we have hit most of the questions, but I know earlier we were talking about we're going to delve into some of the strategies that your land investor clientele is using.
Yep.
I'm familiar with them, but I am kind of curious what's kind of the allocation between the different types of strategies. Like you see, oh, most people are doing this or that, or what are you seeing?
There is a whole mix out there. And again, it really is about the individual preference. So we've got customers that love doing infill lots. Because again, big neighbor-led strategy goes well with infill lots. We've got some customers that love doing probate. Like most land investors hear the word probate and they run a million miles. So our data that we're getting for these people is really helping them to niche down to that. We've got customers doing a lot of stuff around entitlements and small subdivisions up to large subdivisions. We've got people that want to focus on building out their note portfolio. So going after a type of property that they can sell a finance or lease purchase on. You name it, they're doing it. And it goes on from there. But I guess in saying all of those examples, the thing for people to think about is the opportunities are endless. You've just got to be open to what the market is doing and what solutions you can put into the market that's going to generate a deal, and it's going to generate a win-win for everyone involved. A win for the seller, a win for the buyer, and a win for you.
Okay. Yeah, that's very cool. Also, you had asked me to remind you to provide that link for Property Source. I'll put it in the
Yep.
show notes, but did you want to actually say it to now for people that are listening that have a pen to write it down or something?
It's quite long. So let me hold on
Okay.
1 second. I'll get it for you.
All right.
It is. I'm just logging in to get it for you.
No worries. I can picture someone if is it how do you
I'm
say
about to
this
put it
thing?
in the chat box for you.
They're gonna be writing it down and
So
scribbling really hard here. Oh
it
yeah. Okay.
is www, because that's obviously what they all start with. So it's superchargeddeals.net/register. So superchargeddeals.net/register.
All right. Perfect. I got it
Awesome. And all
here.
they need to do is put in their details. It's going to set them up a page. We have a dedicated account manager as well. So George is his name. As soon as they've registered, George will be on there under the support tab. So if they've got any questions about uploading properties, how to manage their deals, all of that stuff, George will be able to help them one-on-one. So they have a dedicated success manager there to assist with anything.
Okay. And is that a link to start the process with your company or start it with the Property Source
So it's with
company?
Property Source, but Property Source, the way that Property Source works is they've got partners. So all the different like educators and coaches and big players out there, they have a platform with Property Source. The Property Source is providing it, but then we have the members under there. So they've set it up in kind of a structure where it's a collaborative support network. So I can see all my people on there and I can also help them. So it's really about community, and that's what they're building.
Okay. Excellent. And if anyone wants to get in touch with you or start that process with Supercharged Offers, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, they can do a couple of things. They can email me direct. So it's Alicia, so ALICIA at superchargedoffers.com. And I'll be more than happy to send them my calendar invite. They can jump onto our superchargedoffers.com website. There's a link in there to book for a call, get some more information, download an ebook, download a business guide. They can download our 7-step playbook on how to get deals in 7 days. Whole range of things they can do there, or just jump onto Supercharged Offers on Facebook. On the Facebook page, guys, you'll see loads of really happy customer testimonials and videos about the results that they're getting, and we'd love to be able to help you too.
All right, excellent. Well, I'm really glad that you were able to jump on the show again another time. I think this was a
Me too, Mason.
yeah, it was a very helpful episode for myself. I'm sure everyone else listening too.
Excellent. Well, glad to be of service, and I look forward to hearing from anyone that wants my help. even if it's just to jump on a call and for me to just do what I did there with you. Like, let's just strategize and talk about where their businesses are at and what they need help with.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Mason.
Hey guys, I appreciate you taking the time to listen or watch this episode. As you might have noticed, we don't run ads, but what I would like you to do is just subscribe to our YouTube channel. That would help us out tremendously. You don't even have to leave a review, but if you do feel like you would gain a lot of value from this episode, feel free to share it with your friends and comment, like, subscribe, all that. But subscribing to YouTube would be what helps us the most. That's the only thing I ask. Thanks a lot. And if you do want to get in touch with me, feel free to email me at mason@scalablerei.com. Thanks a lot.